Rain tapped softly against the cracked window as Amir tucked his 6-year-old daughter into bed. The small apartment smelled faintly of tea and detergent, the scent of a life carefully held together. He brushed a strand of hair from her forehead. "Will you be here when I wake up?" she murmured. "Always," he said, even though life had taught him that always was a fragile promise. A sharp knock broke the quiet. Amir frowned. It was late. No one visited at this hour. He opened the door cautiously. A woman stood there, soaked to the skin, her expensive coat clinging uselessly to her frame. Her hair, once styled with precision, now hung in damp strands. But it was her eyes that struck him most, steady, proud, yet carrying something broken beneath the surface. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice controlled but strained. "Can I stay with you, just for tonight?" Amir blinked. "I think you have the wrong." "I don't," she interrupted softly. "You're Amir Rahman. You used to work at K&L Holdings." His chest tightened. "Used to," he corrected. She nodded. "So did I." He studied her more carefully now. There was something familiar in her posture, and the way she held her chin despite everything. And then it clicked. "You're the CEO," he said slowly. "Was," she replied. "Not anymore." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, from inside, his daughter's sleepy voice drifted out, "Abba?" Amir hesitated. Every instinct told him to shut the door. Life had been hard enough without inviting complications. But something in the woman's eyes, a mixture of exhaustion and quiet desperation, stopped him. He stepped aside. "Come in." Her name was Sarah Malik. She sat at the small kitchen table, wrapped in one of Amir's old sweaters, her hands wrapped around a chipped mug of tea. The apartment felt even smaller with her in it, as though her former life refused to shrink to fit the space. "I didn't expect this," Amir said finally. "Neither did I," she replied. "Evicted?" he asked, disbelief creeping into his tone. She gave a humorless smile. "It turns out, when your board removes you overnight, everything else follows quickly. Accounts frozen. Assets disputed. Reputation questioned. And you came here?" "You're the only person I thought might understand," she said. Amir let out a short laugh. "Understand? You fired me." Sarah met his gaze. "Yes." The word hung between them. "For what?" he pressed. "Cost-cutting? Restructuring? Some spreadsheet decision?" Her grip tightened around the mug. "Because I thought you'd be okay." He stared at her. "You were strong," she continued. "You had skills. A family. I told myself you'd land on your feet. It was easier than letting go of people who didn't have anyone." Amir shook his head slowly. "So you sacrificed me because I looked like I could survive?" "I thought I was being rational," she whispered. "But I wasn't there when you str." Silence settled over the room again, heavier this time. "You don't know anything about my life," Amir said quietly. "Then tell me." That night stretched longer than either of them expected. Amir spoke of the months after losing his job, of selling his car, of skipping meals so his daughter could eat, of taking odd jobs that chipped away at his dignity but kept the lights on. Sarah listened. Really listened. No interruptions. No defenses. Just silence and the occasional tightening of her jaw. "And you?" Amir asked eventually. "What happened to you?" She leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "I built everything around control," she said. "Every decision, every risk. I thought if I stayed ahead, I'd be untouchable. But I trusted the wrong people," she admitted. "People who smiled in meetings and signed papers behind my back. When they pushed me out, there was nothing left to hold on to." Amir studied her. For the first time, he didn't see the CEO. He saw a person who had fallen just as hard as he had. The next morning, Sarah woke to the sound of laughter. She stepped into the living area and froze. Amir's daughter sat cross-legged on the floor, building a crooked tower of blocks. Amir knelt beside her, pretending to be amazed each time it didn't collapse. "Look," the little girl exclaimed when she saw Sarah. "We made a castle." Sarah smiled faintly. "It's beautiful." "Do you want to help?" the girl asked. Sarah hesitated. Then, slowly, she sat down beside them. Days passed. One night turned into 3. 3 turned into a week. Sarah helped cook. Amir fixed a leaking tap. They fell into a rhythm neither of them expected. But tension lingered beneath the surface. "You can't stay forever," Amir said one evening. "I know. What's your plan?" She exhaled. "Start over, I suppose." "Doing what?" "I don't know yet." Amir leaned against the counter. "You built a company from nothing. You can do it again." She shook her head. "Not like before." "Good," he said. "Maybe that's the point." A few weeks later, Sarah stood in front of a small, modest office space. The sign was simple. Unpolished. But it was hers. Amir stood beside her, arms crossed. "You sure about this?" he asked. "No," she said honestly. "But I wasn't sure the first time either." "And this time?" She glanced at him. "This time, I'm not doing it alone." He raised an eyebrow. "I need someone who understands people, not just numbers," she said. "Someone who's been on the other side of my decisions." Amir was quiet for a moment. "And you trust me with that?" he asked. She smiled. "I trust you more than I trust myself." He looked at the sign again. Then at his daughter, who was already trying to open the door. He sighed. "All right," he said. "Let's see what happens." Months later, as the small company slowly grew, Sarah often thought back to that rainy night. To the door she never thought she'd knock on. To the man who had every reason to turn her away, and didn't. One evening, as they closed up the office, she turned to Amir. "Why did you let me stay?" she asked. He shrugged. "Because someone once told me I looked like I could survive." She smiled. And I figured," he added, "maybe you could too."